Do you think the recent movies, certainly like movies in the last decade, have been too heavy on crossovers and nostalgia?
Crossovers, yes. Nostalgia, it's hard to say because say Trick or Treat Scooby Doo was quite heavily reliant on, at least the setup was quite heavily reliant on the 1969 series. But then you're banking on your current audience having either grown up with reruns of that series or have grown up long enough for it to be on television in real time. And I don't know if that demographic is Scooby-Doo's or Warner Brothers' priority right now. So I think nostalgia, no. I think for that, for me, would be, say, if they did try and do a season four or, proper time season three of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? With that same style, but again, I don't know. So crossovers definitely, nostalgia is a difficult one because, nostalgia for what and nostalgia for who, kind of two different things.
I kind of be agreeing with you on that. I'd say crossovers, yes. If we see another DC crossover in the next 5 years, I'm going to scream. I'm sick of the sight of Batman in Scooby Doo, quite frankly. But nostalgia, no, I think the only real nostalgia kick I feel like we got was Trick or Treat, and to me that was brilliant. But also it was just kind of in keeping with what's happening in cinema at the time. Like fanfare and nostalgia has been such a huge part of everything. So there was a run of like a couple of years from the new Spider-Man movie, the newest of the Spider-Man movies, the Ghostbusters Afterlife that came out, all that sort of stuff. There was just an era of fanfare, bringing back original characters, all that sort of stuff.
Even David Tennant, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if anything, that's just in keeping with what's happening in movies at the minute. But certainly for me, the crossovers, I'd be happy to see the back of them and just start getting down to some proper Scooby, really. Like, I think some of the better Scooby projects for me personally, which is Ghost, Zombie Island, stuff like that, Loch Ness, none of them's a crossover. To me, the crossovers are like, I call them the filler movies. It's the, oh, what do we put out this year? Let's make it a marketing campaign sort of thing. Sophie, what about you?
Yeah, the past 5 years have been heavy crossovers, which I don't mind, but because there's been so many, it's getting a bit tiresome now. Like I'm
Mm.
over it. Not, and then also they don't always hit the mark. They're quite bad as well. Um, I mean, talking like the 10-year span, I suppose we've passed it now. We're in 2023 now, 2024. Oh my God. But I feel like before the 5 years ago, like they were good movies. They were basic, but they were good. If you're gonna get the nostalgia bit, it's because it's only, the formula's there from the original Scooby and it works, and that's what you get comfort from. But with the crossovers, they've put it too much now, and it's just like I said, tiresome, and it doesn't hit the spot like a normal Scooby would. So yeah, I don't think we need any more crossovers. Just like a good mystery though, not like a lame one, but a good mystery, and that's all we want. That's all we want.
Is. And I think as well, when you've got a series like Guess Who, and then have these like collaboration movies coming out alongside it and crossovers coming alongside that, it's like we've got enough with the series, kind of keep that to whatever that is, and let's get a break from that with the movies, because I think there was a lot all at the same time. Dan, what's your thoughts on, is there too much nostalgia? Is there too much crossover?
Yeah, I think in terms of the crossovers, I must admit, I don't particularly care for them. I remember I was Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie. It was fine, but I remember just thinking, oh, I wish this wasn't so crossover. I do think, and you say like in Guess Who, there was a lot of crossovers in there. There's like Wonder Woman and Batman and The Flash. And I'm not even saying they were bad episodes. I think The Flash one's one of my favorites, but it's just, yeah, it is a bit too much. But I wish they would just focus on basic. Like in the early 2010s, I thought they were just really good, solid films. In terms of nostalgia, no, I don't think they've really nostalgia baited as much as Hollywood, other stuff in Hollywood has. I mean, I know we got the 13 Ghosts and the Zombie Island sort of sequel things, but I think that was more just because it was the 50th anniversary. I don't think they were really nostalgia
Mm.
baiting at that point. And if anything, usually it's more just like, you'll see, as a joke, one of the original bad guys will appear, but that's more of just like a nod. They never really rely
Yeah.
on it. So no, I don't think the Scooby franchise has relied on nostalgia. Like you said, it's just because it's such an old franchise.
Ooh, that's a
You're
good
inevitably. Got to be
That's a
nostalgic.
good point, because you can almost argue that what we call nostalgia baiting now for the Scooby franchise has actually already happened with Monster of Mexico and Legend of the Vampire.
Yeah,
That's what you would call nostalgia bait now, but we had
yeah.
that 20 odd years ago. So,
Hmm.
it's a bit like that.
And I'd never thought, like you were saying there, Dan, about like Curse of the 13th Ghost and Return to Zombie Island being nostalgia bait. I'm like, that's like an absolute massacre of my favorite childhood stuff. That's not
I think they
nostalgia
wanted
bait.
it. Yeah, they wanted it to be, but they just really didn't stick the landing
Yeah,
on them.
but it's interesting what you're saying, because it is the title Return to Zombie
Oh,
Island that was like
sorry.
got me and JB like, okay, it's time to see what they've done. Like it does work for like bringing you back. Like it has to evoke some intrigue, but yeah,
I like that.
I didn't feel a shred of nostalgia.